What is up, my viewers? Spang here, bringing you another World of Tanks gameplay commentary. It is yet another replay sent in by Cobra Quintuple 1, otherwise known as Thomas Jaeger. At least that's his name on YouTube. He is playing in his Churchill 3 Standard Battle South Coast. So the Churchill 3 is the Tier 5 premium heavy tank of the British tank line. Thomas here, or otherwise known as Cobra, I should just refer to him as his in-game name. Cobra simply apparently AFK during the first few minutes of the match, which is fun because I need to increase the map size. There we go. Now everyone can see. Wow. The BT7 eliminating himself right off the bat. Teams appearing to be even for the most part. No significant advantage to either team. Matchmaker has been a lot better since the update, so thank goodness for that. I know I, for one, was very sick of a lot of lopsided battles getting put together by the horrible matchmaking system that used to exist. But the issues, for the most part, seem to have been fixed. There we go. Cobra finally joining the battle. Not too much time lost, although for whatever reason, the game timer is not in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I'm not quite sure why that is, but that... I guess that's just one of those weird things then, yes. So, Cobra, I do take notice, that has a camouflage net on his Churchill. I don't typically use camouflage nets on heavy tanks, but to each his own. And also Lend-Lease oil. For a slower tank like the Churchill, I think that's probably a wise investment. Gets you to where you're going a little bit faster. Now, the Churchill 3 does have a lower damage and lower penetration gun than the highest gun on the Churchill 1, which is the non-premium tier 5 heavy tank. Again, those audio glitches, please ignore those the best you are able. But it does, going back to what I was saying, the Churchill 3 has rate of fire. A very rapid rate of fire, like one shell every 1 or 2 seconds. It's terrifying. And thank goodness it only has 110 penetration and 75 damage, because otherwise it would be a horrifying damage dealer that would simply be overpowered. The devs tried to not make things too overpowered, but in its own tier, the Churchill 3 does tend to be heavily armored, able to bounce whatever comes its way, unless it's an M4 with a derp gun, but looking as if that M4 will not be able to get off a single shot. There we go. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about, right there. The rapid rate of fire, sorry. This is my 4th commentary in a row that I've done tonight, so my voice and energy level might be a little bit waning, but I'm going to do my best not to let them fall by the wayside. Oh yeah! So let's get back to what I was saying. This team really down by only 1 tank at this point, well technically 2 because of that BT7 eliminating himself early on. The Churchill 3 really going to have to be the mover and shaker this round. The Stug 3 managing to get himself eliminated here. Well, maybe not quite. No, it looks as if he will get away with his life until... Come on, back up just a little bit more. Cobra doing the wise thing, taking the shot at where the enemy may have gone. Cobra, readjust your aim to the left just a little bit. There we go. Free shot, number kill, 2. I know I mixed up my words. I got slightly dyslexic there, but you probably understood what I said regardless. So another Stug coming his way with his armor angled properly. Cobra will be able to bounce shots if they do come his way. Though the Stug not apparently knowing where he was, getting another kill there, eliminating 2. Well, actually, technically, all of his kills so far, all 3 have been tier 5 tanks. So evening the playing field very much as was needed for his team to catch up. The teams still aren't quite even though it is 6-6. That BT7 did eliminate himself right off the bat, so the enemy team still does have a 1 tank advantage, making it their responsibility to be the ones on the offensive. Now, I know that's kind of a flawed way of thinking, but that is the way I've always played this game. If my team has the advantage, I usually take that as an indication that maybe we should be the ones pushing and trying to be a bit more offensive, where if the enemy team has the tank advantage, they should be the ones that are pushing and we should be sitting back in more defensive positions. It's just really playing smart. And I know that's talking very specifics. Your individual tank playstyle should depend on the situation on your part of the map. Obviously, you aren't going to go push somewhere if you're the only tank there and you know there's 5 enemy tanks sitting for you around the corner. But I'm just talking in generals about how your team should behave. So I'm right here, BT7, if he had kept going forward, he might have made it through the water. Yeah, apparently him drowning himself in the little lake area right there. I've seen a KV5 survive by going through that water. Unfortunately, he was on the enemy team. So he did get himself eliminated, but he did hurt me in the process. The enemy team, here we go, taking their responsibility and pushing on Cobra's base. Really not too much coming at him just in any sort of cohesive manner, coming at his base one after another. Though this enemy artillery, not quite sure what it's doing this far forward on the field, besides making itself an easy target for Cobra here. Perhaps kill number 4 will be the artillery. No, it's looking as if it will be the BDR. The M37 wisely backing up. There we go. Cobra aiming for a bit more of an ideal position and requesting fire support. I know they changed that recently. It used to be if you were a tank and you pressed the targeting button, it would tell your team that you were attacking them. So perhaps Cobra operating on old gameplay mechanics, because I am fairly certain he has no artillery left. So I don't know who's going to provide him fire support at that point. The enemy team managing to pull ahead, partially because Cobra's artillery was stupid. It was out in the open in the J5 area and got themselves killed. And the enemy team up by 4 tanks, not 3. Remember that BT7 eliminated himself early on in the match. But perhaps this Matilda will die here in just a second if Cobra's crew would stop being drunk and actually shoot where he aimed. I'm just saying. It's one of those things that's unfortunate and a lot of us have suffered through, especially as artillery players. It seems like our tank crews have just been out getting hammered and they can't aim for anything, let alone to save their lives. The enemy team in a lot of trouble here. I just realized how badly they are positioned. Yes, they do have a tank advantage by 3 tanks, but Cobra is still at full health. So the enemy team has to eliminate a full health Churchill as the top tier tank. When a Churchill is the top tier tank, it should be feared. It should be respected, and it should definitely be taken as a serious threat. So when it's at 100% health like Cobra is, you do not want to take it lightly. This KV-1 only managing to bounce shells and Cobra in much the same boat. So it seems there is somewhat of a stalemate here. It's going to be up to that KV-1 and that Lux on the hill to try and help Cobra eliminate the enemy KV-1. Sorry, got a bit of gas. And not the... So I had to belch a little. That was the whole interruption. Of course, to TMI, I don't need to be telling you guys that. Just me making idle conversation in a dull moment in the match. So really at this point, this could go either way for either team, though Cobra did send me in a post-game screenshot basically allowing me to know how this all ends up. Cobra repositioning, quite the wise decision, perhaps getting a better location on that KV-1 and something that will allow him to get through that armor. And here he's kind of rethinking his attack plan. He can't quite decide where to go, and I can't blame him. He's in an odd situation. The enemy team only up by 2 tanks now. One of those is an artillery piece, however, which can make all the difference. If you saw my CQB RD commentary, me living as an artillery piece ended up being the only reason my team won. There are those weird audio glitches again. I still have no idea what is causing those, but they certainly are irritating to say the least. Now, the enemy team managing to eliminate that Lux. It is just down to Cobra and the KV-1, both having 4 kills. So apparently the only 2 people keeping this team in the game have been Cobra and Killer Bow in that KV-1. There we go, kill number 5 for Killer Bow. And that leaves only 4 enemy vehicles left, but it does seem they will be able to eliminate Killer Bow. Okay, so I guess that is his full name. But Killer is killed. He's done. He has no chance of survival at this point. Fighting a Hetzer and a T-49. He is simply knocked out of this match. Fortunately, he was able to eliminate that KV-1, the higher health, well, not the higher health, but the higher armored threat to this team's victory. The T-50 saying, I hate the T-49 for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure what is going on there. But the KV1 surviving a lot longer than I would have expected. He was calling for help a bit earlier, and help is on the way. If you can just hang on a little bit more, buddy. There we go, calling for help. Yet again, this Hetzer will be falling victim to Cobra if he can actually manage to get through his armor. There we go, should only require one more shot. If he could just do some damage, come on, there we go. The KV1 still alive with 15 health. That is definitely, he probably earned Spartan this round. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that at all. If he manages to bounce any shells at this point, or if he has bounced any shells at this point, he has earned Spartan. Cobra getting kill number 6, earning himself Top Gun. Very nice. The T-50 sharing my sentiment. Unfortunately, the KV-1 eliminated by the Sturmpanzer II, who I had just simply assumed ran out of shells. The KV-1 saying, "Thank you so much," and then he died. How unfortunate. For those of you, again, unaware, the Sturmpanzer II has a very low ammo count. One of the biggest problems you will run into playing the Sturmpanzer II is running out of shells. It's very easy to deplete your ammo during the course of a match, which is why if you're going to take up the German artillery line, I highly recommend you pursue the Wesp. It's just a better artillery piece than the Sturmpanzer II in every way that is conceivable. And that's just looking at the stats and from personal experience. I did not play the Sturmpanzer II simply because I looked at them beforehand, and one of my teammates, Tank 677, did play the vehicle, and he hated it. And then he went back and played the Wesp, and he loved it, and he recommended the Wesp to me, and I looked at the stats between the two and said, yeah, you're right. The Sturmpanzer II is probably the worst Tier 2 artillery. Okay, well, maybe that's stretching it just a bit, but it certainly is worse than the Wesp. So, it's not Tier 2 artillery, I'm sorry, it is Tier 3, I misspoke. And the KV-1 saying 8 kills, good job, jumping the gun a bit, but the Sturmpanzer II really has no chance of survival at this point. Will he get a ram? It's looking as if he will go in for the ram kill, and there we go, kill number 8, getting him Radley Walters medal and Top Gun. The post-game stats did reveal, with premium he earned over 2,000 experience, very, very impressive for a Tier 5 vehicle. So well done, Mr. Cobra, aka Thomas Yeager. Thank you for sending in this replay. It certainly was interesting. I'm surprised your team won. You and that KV-1 managing to get 13 of your team's 15 kills. Well played. So, I'm trying to think of anything else that was of value during this match that I should mention, but I mean, I can't think of anything. So, I guess with nothing else to say, if you like this video, click that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. And as always, if you got a replay, send it to spanglereplays@gmail.com. Email is in the description. As always, this has been Fang, and I am signing off.